Minecraft is essentially a sandbox game. So the best analogy to describe that, so sandbox games are open world games where there's kind of no limits to what you can do, and there's no boundaries or no walls. Sandbox, best analogy I can come up with is imagine a giant sand pit or a beach where you have the raw materials, grains of sand. With that sand and some water, you can build pretty much anything you want. The limit is your imagination. So you could build a simple sand castle, or have several turrets and build a sand fortress, or you could build a life-size sand unicorn or model of David Beckham. Again, the limit is your imagination. Minecraft is the same. The only difference is instead of sand, your base materials, your raw materials are blocks, and each block is 1 meter cubed, so 1 meter, 1 meter by 1 meter. And each block has different properties and different textures. So you have blocks of dirt, blocks of grass, blocks of diamond, blocks of gold, brick, stone, sand, and so on and so forth. So using the original analogy, looking at my slide, you can build a basic rudimentary shelter, which I'm going to get you to do shortly. Or you could build a nice little log cabin, or if you feel in the mood and you've got a team to help you, you could build a scale replica of Hogwarts. So there are currently 3 versions of Minecraft Education Edition. There is the Windows version, which is available to download directly as an install or via the Windows Store as an app. You can also download the Apple version, which is available for Apple Mac OS X, and also for iPad as well. And both of these versions are compatible with one another. So if you create something on the iPad, you can easily export that and move that onto a Windows device. Also, if you're working collaboratively, so if you've got several people working on the same world, you can have one person working on a Windows device, one working on a Mac, and one working on an iPad. Microsoft have recently released a Chromebook version. So this is only a few weeks old. And although it has all the same features as the Windows and Apple versions, at the moment it's not compatible with those. So you can do the same things with it, but you can't transfer worlds from one to the other, and you can't join each other's worlds on a Chromebook yet. It's still in experimental, but that will soon be fixed. So it gives you a number of opportunities or possibilities for using it on different platforms. So I'm going to mute the audio on this because you can't hear it very well. I'm going to do a voiceover. But what I'm going to get you to do in a moment is to play a survival game. So survival is like Bear Grylls meets Lego meets Robinson Crusoe. So imagine you're on a desert island and you have nothing, no resources apart from the raw materials around you. And using those raw materials, you need to survive the night. And I'm going to ask you to do that, survive a night in Minecraft. I'll explore why survival mode is so useful later on, but basically it's an easy way to get into Minecraft with very little knowledge of Minecraft. But before we do that, you need to know how to play the game. You need to know the controls. So I always get, whether it's students or teachers or tutors, before they use Minecraft, to try the tutorials first. The reason why that is even if you've played Minecraft before, most people's experience of Minecraft is on a console like an Xbox or PlayStation, or on a tablet device, such as an iPad or Android tablet. And the controls are completely different on the Windows version. So in a moment, I'm going to get you to launch Minecraft. And then from the main menu, click on play. And let's just speed this up. I talk quite a lot in this video. And then from there, click on library, and you'll see there's lessons and challenges. I want you to click on how to play.
Apologies. Oh, Simon, sorry to interrupt. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I can only still see your webcam. Your screen isn't shared for me yet. So I'm not sure if it's just.
Let's try again. How about now? Can you see my screen now? Oh,
yeah, we can see it now.
Thank you. That's happened to me before, and I did a session, and I went 15 minutes. I was talking and showing all these slides, and someone said, "Well, was I meant to see a video? I can only see you." So you haven't missed much. Just a few slides, just explaining. So there you can see the examples, the analogies. So rudimentary hut, shelter, a basic a log cabin, and then if you want, you can build some really complex structures in Minecraft. And then I talked about the 3 different versions. So I'll show this video again. So what I'm going to get you to do is complete the tutorial. So, and let's mute that. So first thing you need to do is click on play. So load up Minecraft, log in with your Office 365 credentials, so your college credentials. Click on view library. And then you can see you've got access to lessons and tutorials. Click on how to play. And then you've got some basic tutorials, start here, or some more advanced tutorials that introduce some of the more complex elements in Minecraft. I recommend starting with start here. And then the 2 main tutorials I recommend are 1, movement, and 2, place and break. If you get chance, you can try some of the others as well, interact, and I recommend trying some of these later on when you have a chance. So you click on the tutorial and create world. And then once you're in, all you need to do is follow the on-screen instructions. So for the first one, the movement, it will give you hints on what to do. So you need to move your cursor and move your mouse so that you highlight or look at each of the blocks, and then.
Hi, sorry, it's not letting me play.
Right, so I'll just pause this. So for those who can, load up so go to start, go to library, click on the how-to guides, tutorials, and start with the getting started guide. For everyone else, put your thumbs up in the chat if you get it working. Who said that they can't get it to work?
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen and it goes start here.
Yeah.
And we're unable to connect to the library.
Right, so we found out that in some institutions, the library is blocked because it uses to download them the Xbox server, and because it uses the word Xbox, so it's a gaming server. Some colleges and institutions block it, even though it's educational content. I said in the session this morning to the IT technician that's supporting that I will send a list of websites unblock. So if you, the one that's demonstrating, if you go to back to how to play, there might be an alternative version. Go back to again and back to library. So click on the library button. This might work. Click on create new. Click on, oh, go back, sorry. So back to create world. Click on create new. Click on templates and try Minecraft tutorial and play. So this is a quick fix if you can't access the library resources. So fingers crossed. Yes, Catherine, you got a hand up?
Yeah, sorry, you
is it-
answered
yes,
the
sorry,
question.
sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Click back on there so you can download the second hander.
Apologies, Brett, that you can't download it or get it to work. But if you can work with Paul, or if Paul can help you, that would be great. There you go. So that works. So that's the original tutorial, which also works. So you can do that from, instead of going to the library, you click on New, Templates, and choose Tutorial World. I'll put that in the chat. So for those that are having problems accessing the library. So it's from the start, play, and create new templates and tutorial world. So for Brett and Paul, I'll just paste in the address of the Minecraft, the direct link to the download, to see if that helps, into the chat window. And I'll try and copy the link to the Play Store as well, if that helps. I know some people had issues this morning. And I'll give you about 10 minutes in. So in the tutorial mode, so that'll be about 2:05. So for those having issues, I'm just going to paste. So I've pasted into the chat a link to direct link to the download for Minecraft. And if that doesn't work, I'll also share a link to the Windows Store as well to see if that fixes it. So method 1 is the education@minecraft.net/get started/download. That's a direct link to the downloader. Alternatively, the second one will hopefully open up in the Windows Store for you and download it as a zip file. That's if you're allowed to install files locally on your machine. And let's see if I can find the link. So that's the download. Let's see if I can find a direct link to the store as well. Okay. Right, so the third method, this might bypass security. It might not, Paul, but if you copy the whole, so instead of clicking the link https://ak.ms download, if you copy the whole thing, so where it says ms-app installer ? Source, copy that whole line into your browser, press enter, and it should give you the option to open in web app. So you copy that whole line, including the MS app installer, paste that into a browser window, and it should come up with Open App Installer. A website wants to open this application. Click on Open App Installer, and that should open it in the Windows Store. If that doesn't work, then you'll need to speak to your network manager, unfortunately. Apologies for that. I'm guessing by the silence that everyone else is happy playing. Sorry, working. Oh, brilliant. So hopefully it should install through the Windows Store, because you don't have to do any manual installs. In response to Paul, yeah, so if you go to, actually, probably best if you do the tutorial built in. So if you go to play, create new, choose templates and select tutorial world. That will introduce you to the tutorials. The other method, if the library works, but I'm guessing if you're having issues installing, then the library probably won't work. But with the library, you go to play, library, then how to, and then there's some tutorials in there. One's getting started, and then it'll give you some options: movement, placing blocks, all the way up to creating non-player characters and advanced redstone. That's the best way, so I'll put that in the chat. But for now, if you're having issues, I recommend play, create new templates, and tutorial world. I'll give you a few more minutes to get used to the controls, as a few people have had a few issues. But as I said, whether you've played Minecraft before, it's always a good idea to use the tutorial mode just to get used to the unique controls for one, the Windows, but two, the Education Edition and some of the new features. It looks like you're a resident expert, by the way, so after this session, if you have any questions, you can always ask Catherine. Oh, brilliant, Paul. So you managed to get through working through the library. Mark, your question, that was good. That was good in the basic commands. Also, you mentioned the basic commands tutorial. That is really useful if you're using it with a group of students, because it gives you lots of control over the environment. I'll give you one more minute and then we'll move on. Don't worry, you have plenty of times to, like I say, play, explore this educational tool in more detail later on. Okay, if I can stop you from exploring Minecraft. So far we've explored some of the controls in Minecraft, but I thought I'd just start with some of the vocabulary, so you're familiar with some of the features and unique terms in Minecraft. So can you all hear me, by the way, and see my slide this time? So you should see, yeah, brilliant. So every block in Minecraft is 1 meter cubed, so 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. That becomes very useful later on when we start to explore using Minecraft for numeracy or maths. A world is just a world like our own, but because it's a sandbox, there's no borders. You can pretty much carry on walking forever and ever and ever. When you create a new world, it creates from random. but technically they're not random because each one has a unique number. And if you know that number, you can recreate that world over and over again, which can be useful when you want to find a world for your topic. Each world has, just like in real life, different biomes. So biomes are areas of the world that are identified by either its climate or geographical features or foliage or the animals it spawned. So for example, you've got desert biomes that have few animals, lots of sand, and then the odd cactus. You've got wintry tundras where you'll find Arctic foxes or polar bears. You'll also have rainforests as well, and you'll also find the mobs, which I'll talk about later. So the animals and creatures in the area spawned are related to that environment. Also, the weather changes as well. So if you're in a wintry tundra and it rains, it will turn to snow. The same as if you're really on high up on a hilltop. Now, a tick, don't worry, it's not one of those nasty little creatures that sucks your blood and attaches to your leg. A tick is a representative of time in Minecraft. So 24,000 ticks is an entire day in Minecraft, and that equates to roughly about 20 minutes of normal time. So within 20 minutes I go from day to night. Players, there are two main players in the game, and that's Alex and Steve. However, there are a number of skins, so costumes that you can use to customize your characters in Minecraft that are built into the Education Edition. Survival. I mentioned this briefly at the start before we did the tutorial. We're going to look at survival mode next. The survival mode is a mode in the game where you have health bars, so you can get killed. You need to eat because you'll get hungry. And the idea is to try and survive in Minecraft by crafting tools and building shelters. Creative mode is the other main mode in Minecraft, which gives you access to every single block. So this is really useful when you want to use it to create something really quickly. And we'll talk about the different modes and how they can be applied and their usefulness later on. Now, a term that is kind of unique to Minecraft is griefing. Now, griefing, if we explore that original analogy of this sand pit and sandcastles, griefing is when someone does something malicious or nasty in Minecraft. So the example is that child or that person that would kick down the sand castles, and the same person or child would probably pull wings off a daddy long legs. So griefing refers to deliberately or accidentally destroying other people's builds in Minecraft, or stealing from their inventory, for example. And then there's mobs. So mobs stands for mobile, and they are entities in the game that you can interact with and move around that are not players. So you have standard mobs such as pigs, animals, polar bears, bees, parrots, and then you have hostile mobs. So hostile mobs are those that are out to get you and will attack you, particularly when it's dark. And then finally, it's called Minecraft because, one, you mine. So you mine for ores and materials to build. So to help to build your shelter, to help you survive and build rudimentary tools like an axe and a pickaxe and a sword and shield to defend yourself. And you have certain recipes. So here's some examples. So for example, if you chop down a tree, you can use the wood to create some planks of wood. You can then take those planks of wood and make some sticks. And then with that, and maybe some stone or wood or other items, you can build some rudimentary tools like a hand axe for chopping down trees or a pickaxe for mining. Anyone who's ever played Minecraft will tell you that sand, well, glass comes from sand. The reason why I know that is in Minecraft, to make glass, you take sand, you place it in a furnace, and you smelt it down. And you can do the same thing with iron ore and gold as well. And I'll get you to do some crafting at the moment. So, how do you use Minecraft in an education context? So Minecraft lends itself really well to literacy. And the reason why that is, it's the same for most games used in education context, is because games are fully immersive, especially 3D games that have background sounds as well. Because I often find, how can someone write about something they never experienced? Because Minecraft and games are truly immersive, it gives you a narrative, it gives you something to write about because you've experienced it. So it works very well for literacy. So for example, you can explore literary works, even. You'll find that in the worlds, in the library, teachers, educators, and teams of Minecrafters have built worlds based on specific genres. So for example, Dickensian Britain, so you can use it to explore A Christmas Carol or Oliver. You can also use it for instructional writing. So I challenge students sometimes to be a YouTuber. I remember when I first started teaching, I'd ask the children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they'd say, I want to be a firefighter, or I want to be a train driver, astronaut. Often they'd say sometimes teacher or footballer, or Katie Price. Now I ask them, and they want to be in a reality TV show or a YouTuber. So I challenge them to be a YouTuber and create something in Minecraft, something simple. And then as a YouTuber, write down a step-by-step instructions to help someone rebuild or recreate that. But it also can be a very powerful tool for exploring stories through role play. I often find that whether it's children or young adults, a lot of people find it difficult to role play, especially in front of their peers. Whereas when they're in the game, they take on a different character. It's like being a mascot and putting the mask on. When you put the mask on, you're someone completely different because no one can see you, no one knows who you are. Almost some kind of anonymity. And the great example is I was working with a group of students in Wolverhampton not so long back, and there were SEND students, so there are year 10, year 9 age students with a reading and writing age of that of a year 4, year 5. And we're exploring ways to find a hook to engage students in reading and writing, because they saw writing as a chore. So we started with Minecraft and we explored the traditional story of Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, I didn't realise until we looked at this, but Jack and the Beanstalk has been changed so many times over the past, from the traditional grim tale to a more politically correct version. But in the traditional version, Jack's quite nasty, and he's actually a thief, and he steals from the giant and he kills the giant. So we explored this with this group of children, and this one girl, at the end, I started asking questions, and she stood on a chair, hand in the air, answering question after question after question. I couldn't stop her, which was great, really engaged her. But then I asked the question to the whole group, who is the hero? And this girl turned around and said, everyone said, oh, Jack's the hero. And this girl said, no, he's not. And I said, why not? He says, well, because he climbed up the beanstalk, he met the giant's wife, who was really kind to him and looked after him. He then stole from the giant and the giant's wife, so stole the gold, stole the hen, stole the harp, and then to finish off, killed the giant and made the giant's wife a widow, which is quite powerful. I only found out a little later that that girl was that girl that would normally not engage in class. She would do anything to avoid answering questions. She'd hide under the table, tie a shoelace, go to the toilet. And on this opportunity, or on this point in time, we actually found a hook to engage her with literacy and writing, which is really powerful. Unfortunately, not a panacea, it won't work for everyone. But the great thing with Minecraft is that we can use it as a hook to explore literacy and to create an experience to write about really easily with little or no knowledge of the game. So I'm going to get you to create a survival world. And I'm going to challenge you to survive your first virtual night in Minecraft. Now, to do that, I've got some instructions. I'm hoping this audio is going to work now. If not, please tell me.
The simplest way to get started in Minecraft is to start with a survival world. To do that, click on play from the title menu. Click on create new. Choose new. Agree to the number of options. The ones we want to concentrate just for now are the game mode. Make sure that's set to survival. Difficulty, we'll change that to easy. You can also optionally give your world a name and then click on play to get started. And your first challenge, once you're inside the world, is to survive your first night. The easiest way to do that is to build yourself a simple, rudimentary shelter. Now, what you make that from is up to you. The easiest way is to use blocks of dirt. To dig or destroy in Minecraft, just hold down the left mouse button, like so. And then by walking over those blocks, they will appear in your inventory. You can also use wood. Again, to do that, hold down left mouse button. Like so. Let's get a few blocks of wood. And then find somewhere to build your shelter. And then simply right-click your mouse button to place blocks. Now, you'll notice that I've got a number of items in my inventory, almost like your pockets. To swap between those different inventory slots, just use the number keypad. So number 1 refers to my first slot containing my dirt. Number 2 is my blocks of wood. Now, walking around Minecraft and trying to punch your way through every object is going to take a very long time. So, to make life easier, we're going to craft some simple items. So the easiest one to do is to turn your blocks of wood into planks so they go further. Now to do that, you press the letter E on your keyboard to bring up your inventory. And you'll notice on the left-hand side, it identifies things that you can make using the materials you have. So it says I can make some oak planks. I just click on that. It appears in my crafting section, and I can then just drag those into my inventory like so. You also now see there's more things I can make. So I can make sticks. I can also make a crafting table. Crafting table is really important because there's only so many things you can make using just your standard materials. And it also says I can make some sticks as well. So create some sticks like so. So you'll see I have some planks of wood and some sticks. So to select my crafting table, I press number 2 on the inventory like so. Find somewhere to place that, place it down. Then when I right click, you notice I've got more slots now to add materials. So before I had 4 slots, now I have 9. And you can see it's opened up some more objects. So one of those things I can make is a pickaxe. If I click on that, it creates the ingredients for you, and I just drag that like so. And if I go back to my inventory, press number 2 to select my axe. If I go up to the tree now, you'll notice that it's much quicker to destroy those blocks. So take those blocks. Remember to press the letter E to go to inventory. I'm going to make some more oak planks so I can make my blocks of wood go further. So instead of having 4 blocks of wood, I've now got 16. And then remember to right click to place your blocks. So your first challenge is to build yourself a simple rudimentary shelter to shelter you from the elements, but also to protect you from those hostile mobs that I told you about. So, over to you.
Okay, so your first challenge is, I'm going to give you 15 minutes for this one. From the main menu, go to play, create new, choose survival world and set it to, this is important, set it to easy, not peaceful, and then click on create, and then try to survive your first virtual night in Minecraft by creating a simple rudimentary shelter, and have a go at doing some crafting as well. I'll leave on the screen some recipes so you can see some of the things that you can build. So 15 minutes to try out survival mode. Over to you. And also remember, you can ask any questions at any point using the audio channel or using the chat.
I've put it on to night time. I think I've got my house built. Is that okay?
That's pretty impressive. So we're not expecting everyone's to be as impressive as this.
Well, I've got a 17-year-old.
That's very good. So you imagine if you're playing, using this as in a literacy context, especially when it goes dark, and if it rains as well, and you have the thunder and lightning, so you have the thunder in the background and the lightning strikes, and you'll also hear the sounds of the hostile mobs, the creepers and the zombies in the background, breathing down your neck. So then, after a few minutes of playing this, if you stopped a student and then asked them to write about how they felt, what they did, how they felt when all of a sudden they hadn't finished their build and it gone dark, and they could hear the monsters coming towards them, and they saw the rain coming down, the heart rate would start to increase slightly, because you're totally immersed in the game and you forget that it is a game. And it gives you that context. It gives you something to write about, to talk about. It can be very, very powerful.
Yeah, that's really good, because I obviously work in hospitality, so looking at, customer service and things like that.
Well, you'll love the NPCs later on. When we look at some of the features in the education edition, so if you played the Minecraft, if you played the what we call the vanilla version of Minecraft, so the whatever you normally play, in the education edition you have the special characters called NPCs, which are non-player characters. So these are characters in the game that you can interact with that are not mobs, that won't attack you, and I'll explain how you get that work in a moment. But you can have conversations with. So you can set up scenarios. So if you're thinking about hospitality, you can set up example scenarios where certain customer complaints or custom scenarios. So Catherine, this is just for Catherine. If you press / to bring up the chat command, and then type in, I'm trying to think off the top of my head what it is now. Let's have a look at the options. Try world, world builder. So if you type in world builder, so this is just for Catherine. Remember, if you get stuck, you need help, Catherine's your expert. And then that's it. So you can give the character a name. You can then change the costume. And if you click on the tabs, there's it, so you can type in a message. And then if you close it down, you'll also notice you've got advanced settings. So you can add a website. So that could be to a video, or it could be to a shared OneNote, or it could be to, so for example, in your example, the hospitality, you can have set a question or have an angry customer, and then you can have a link to a shared OneNote where you could then discuss or write your what responses or what appropriate responses would be to that scenario, or how you could deal with that customer. You can also link it to videos. So it could be a link to an example video on YouTube, or something you've created internally that's on the team stream. You can also, if you're into commands as well, you can also hand people objects. If you go to advanced settings and click on add command, if you know your command, you can change the weather, or you can give that person an object, for example. Also, as well, this might be useful, especially for the hospitality context as well. If you go back to your advanced settings, you don't have to put the slash in the give. So with the commands, you don't have to put the slash when you do it. It's the same as a command block. So you just type in give and then whatever item you want to give them. But if you go to edit dialog, and leave that as it is, okay, and then close it down. Now go to slash and the world builder again. So that, yeah, enter. Just a world builder on its own. So it's the one command that doesn't have true or false. It's strange because it's a Microsoft thing. So if you right click on them, you can have a conversation. But then if you look in the bottom right hand corner, you've got the immersive reader. So you can then translate that into any language. It takes a while for the first time you ever use immersive reader in Minecraft. It's really useful. So for those that, so this is an advanced tutorial for Catherine, but those listening in the background, I'll talk about this later, but in Minecraft, you've got NPCs, which are non-playable characters. So you can have set up narratives or conversations or conversational starters. But built into Minecraft is the immersive reader. So you might have seen the immersive reader in Word Online or OneNote, which will translate. Well, first of all, it'll read aloud what is in the document. You can also then translate that to any language. You can also get it to highlight nouns, verbs, adjectives, and even it has a built-in picture dictionary. So if you click on a word that you don't recognize, in the majority of cases, it will generate a picture of what that word is. Useful if you're working with SEND students, but I also find it's very useful if you're working with students where English is a second language. We did a lot of work recently with some students from Afghanistan, that their native language that they all could use was Farsi. So we use the immersive reader quite regularly. So I'm going to give you about 3 more minutes to explore survival mode and try some crafting. So make yourself a crafting table using 4 planks of wood, and then right click on the plank, a crafting table, and create some basic tools. So maybe build yourself a pickaxe or an axe. That's if you survived. You can even build yourself a fishing rod and go fishing. We'll talk about that a bit later when we look at probability. Okay, so in the crafting menu, you've got, so this is an answer to Charlotte. You have, Catherine might want to demonstrate this. With a crafting, some crafting items, you need to have a crafting table first. So the basic things from your inventory. So if you press on E to bring up your inventory, the basic things you can make without a crafting table are sticks and planks of wood. But to get that 3x3, that 9 square option, you have to have a crafting table, which is made of 4 planks of wood. Once you have that, and you click on the crafting table, it will show you on the left which objects you can make using the materials you have. Now, if it's in red, that means that it might be an object that you can almost create, but you might be missing a few important items. So if it's in red, then you're missing something. But if it's not highlighted in red and it's a clear full color icon, you can click on that and it will create the recipe in your crafting table, and then you can drag the item into your inventory slot. Oh, brilliant, Charlotte. Mark has died. How did you die? Did you fall or were you attacked? Attacked. Okay, so if I stop you for a moment from, I won't say playing, exploring Minecraft. Now I'm going to steal your screen, Catherine. And go back to my presentation. So we looked at using survival mode. So the nice thing about survival mode is that it is easy to set up, requires very or little knowledge of Minecraft, but it creates that experience that you can write about. And I know I mentioned you're probably completely immersed in your game, so you might not have heard this, but because you're completely immersed, you forget that you're playing a game. And when it gets dark and you haven't finished your hut and you can hear those zombies coming in, creeping up on you in the background, and you hear the rain or see the rain and see the lightning, your heart rate starts to rise. And you can write about how you felt when all of a sudden it went dark and you hadn't finished, or write about some of the challenges you had within the game. So it could be that you struggled with the game because of the controls, but you've got something to write about. So it gives you a context. If you want to explore literacy in more detail, you can add some gamification. So Minecraft is an example of game-based learning. So using games directly to support learning. Gamification is using game elements in a non-gaming context to support learning. So for example, having leaderboards, scoreboards, competition. So one way to add a bit of healthy competition is to gamify the writing. So here's an example, hopefully you can see it, of some adjectives describing some of the things you might see or feel or hear in Minecraft. And I've given values to each of the words based on their complexity. So for a word like grey or dark or dull, you get 3 points. But if you use something more complex, like malevolent or threatening or ominous, you get 5 points. So you can challenge students to create a piece of creative writing or descriptive writing, but quantify that using a scoreboard. Now, you could challenge them to see who can get the best score in the group, or you can employ something called ghost mode. So anyone's ever played a game like Mario Kart or Forza, there's always a mode where you can try and beat your highest score. So ghost mode is where the students or your adults try to beat their previous score rather than competing against other people, which sometimes can be a bit ominous or challenging. And then using the example of the YouTuber creating instructional writing, then you can start to include more literacy like imperative verbs like fetch, attach, rotate, and some time connectives like to begin, eventually, finally. As well as literacy, the other area that Minecraft lends itself really well to is numeracy or math. And the reason why that is because every block is 1 meter cubed, 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. And with that knowledge, there's a few things we can do. So we can use it to explore volume, but not just volume, but the volume of complex objects. Because you're working in a 3D environment, you can make some really challenging and unique 3D shapes, not just simple cuboids, and have the students try to work out the volume. You can also explore probability, and I've got a great example I'm going to demonstrate in a moment. Area, perimeter, but also scale. So I was working with a school in Telford not so long back where we ran a club. Now clubs I find are a great test bed for trying out new technologies because you haven't got the stresses of using it in the classroom. So it's more relaxed and you can test things out. So I ran a club. It was a Minecraft club, and the students could do pretty much what they wanted. And this one child, Johnson, we all know a Johnson, we've all met a Johnson, is the person in the group that everyone likes, really popular, but he's not switched on to learning. And in this particular instance, Johnson hated maths. But without any encouragement from me, he decided that he wanted to create a scale model of the school. So he went to the caretaker and the head and managed to get a copy of blueprints of the school. And he worked out on his own that the blocks in Minecraft were approximately 1 meter. And then from that, he built a scale model. So imagine his surprise and his teacher's surprise when I told both of them that Johnson was doing maths outside of the classroom for enjoyment. Thankfully, you don't have to create worlds from scratch. So Minecraft in education has been around for several years now. It's only recently Microsoft has kind of bought it from Mojang and taken it to the next level. But teachers and teams have been building worlds for a long, long time. And you can download these worlds for free from the library in Minecraft. So one example is fishing. So in Minecraft, you can go fishing. And just like in the real world, you can catch fish. You can also catch junk. Fortunately, there's no shopping trolleys, but you get the odd boot. And you can also find unique treasures that are only found by fishing. So you could challenge students to create a tally chart of fish, treasure, and junk, and then work out the relative probability of getting each. And this is a world you can download from the library, complete with lesson plan and resources. Minecraft also lends itself well to exploring history. So again, there are worlds in the library that you can download where you can explore ancient Greece, Egypt, and the pyramids of Giza, and explore how the Nile was important to Egyptian culture, explore the Vikings, or you can get the students to create their own representation or a timeline of historical events using creative mode. So, for those that can access the library, I just want you to spend another 10-15 minutes looking at some of the free plethora of resources that are available already in Minecraft. So to do that, if you click on play, and then click on view library, you see you've got lessons, worlds, how to play. Click on lessons. And you'll notice there's subcategories. So there's a maths, science, language. Under computer science, there is a tutorial called Area of Code. I'm going to look at that separately later. So leave that one for now, but that's really, really good. It allows you to code using blocks or Python or JavaScript. History and culture is a good place to start because it gives you an example of some of the worlds that have already been created. So, for example, you can explore city of Baghdad, Florence, or the Chinese Tang Dynasty capital. Florence is a good one to start. So click on the tutorial or the world, and then click on Create World. If you aren't able to explore the library because it's blocked, then you can carry on with the survival world, or you can access the tutorial world from the start menu. So start, new, templates in tutorial world. So I'm going to give you 10-15 minutes to explore some of the worlds that already exist in Minecraft that you can use as a base. Over to you.
Do you know, is anybody use this in a sort of a media format yet? So like in film, like so applying it to like film and media?
I've seen it used for storyboarding and for role play.
Oh, fantastic.
So there is a free world in the library called Comic Book, and it creates like a giant 3D storyboard where you can set up little scenarios almost in the comic book style.
That's perfect, because the first project we run on Level 1 Media is a creating a storyboard project. So let me just note that down.
The only caveat I'd say with that is that obviously it'd be easier and quicker just to do a storyboard on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But obviously this is a little bit more immersive, and you could use the, I don't know if you can hear, for the NPCs we talked about, the non-playable characters. So you can set dialogues and conversations between the characters within each section.
Yeah. Okay. It's called Comic Book, wasn't it?
Yeah. So if you go to the library and lessons and type in Comic Book, it gives you, I think it's like a 6x2 storyboard. And it's basically, imagine you've created a little box, and then it's a bit like Celebrity Squares. You got, or probably the view another is University Challenge. So you've got like blocks on top of each other, and then you can build within there. So you can place objects in there and build little scenarios in a comic book style, and then have characters in there, so non-player characters that you can set up conversations with, or you can use the signposts in there to do descriptions or write a story. That's the only way I've really seen it used in media up until now.
Well, that's perfect, thank you. It's, other than that, I think it's the group building sort of stuff that I think I'd like to implement. Sort of getting the learners to work together.
Yeah,
it's one of my main aims.
Collaboration, and great for team building and problem solving.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, in the previous session, I challenged the group to create a house. Yeah. And one of the members said, how do we build a roof? And again, that introduces your first problem, because you can easily build walls that are 2 or 3 blocks high, but then how do you reach the top to build the roof? And obviously the simple way is to use blocks to build some steps on the outside, but it's not always that straightforward. Also, it presents unique challenges in that you're limited to what blocks you can use in Minecraft. So one of the examples I'll show later, where I challenged a group of kids at a museum. They were trying to recreate the museum in Minecraft, and they're trying to represent smoke, but there's no smoke in Minecraft, so they use cobwebs to represent the smoke. So so it gives you a opportunity, one, for them to collaborate and work together as a team. Two, and the great exercise for that is bridge building. So you can get them to build a bridge across a river, but if you just let them get on with it and just do it, it's really interesting because they don't ask each other how high their bridge is either side. And when they get to the middle, one bridge is 5 blocks high and the other bridge is 2 blocks high, and it's a match. And that's great. That's a great, nice activity as an icebreaker, but also to get them to talk to each other, even if it's talking through the chat system, because you find that a lot of them will use chat systems like WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook.
Discord.
So you can use them to collaborate and communicate using the chat system in the game, but it introduces that collaboration and team building, which is really useful.
Okay.
If that helps.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, 100%. I'm actually going to try and connect to my 4G instead, because the...
That will work. If you connect your device to the 4G, it overrides the filtering.
Yeah.
The reason why it does it, I might have mentioned this earlier. I've got this session over and over again.
It's because of the Xbox thing, isn't it?
Xbox, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give a list of whitelist URLs to Elaine so she can get those unblocked for future. So yeah, if you can get to 4G, it'll work. You can try some of the worlds.
Do that, definitely.
You've got 7 minutes anyway.
Cool. Thank you very much, Simon.
You're welcome. Right, if I can just stop you for a moment and go back to my presentation. So we'll just share my screen again with audio. Now, I think it was Mark who asked about using it in media. So there is one world you can download. Did you find it in the library, Mark? It might be one you have to download from the website. I can't remember.
Sorry, it was me. It was Jacob. I couldn't find it in the... I couldn't find that.
Oh. So it might be on the website. So if you go to education.minecraft.net, and I'll share that at the end of the session, you can also download more resources. And it's easy to search as well within the library. The library makes it easy to find subject-related content, but sometimes it's easier to find a more specific examples from the education store. And you just download it like you would do a Word file or a PDF or Excel file, and it will open automatically in Minecraft when you double click on it. But this is the example. So this is the comic book world, and it's a template for a storyboard. And the idea is that you could potentially use this to create a storyboard for a scene, for a film, or for a book. You can also use signs for the notes, for the script. And as demonstrated here, you can right click on an NPC or on a sign, and you can have the computer read it aloud. Or you can also, by clicking on the reading preferences, you can translate that into many different languages. Yeah. And it will read it aloud as well. So let's just stop that and go back to my presentation. So that's just one way you can use it for media and literacy.
Is it the one with a Russian title? The actual lesson itself has like a Russian...
Possibly.
That's strange.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but when you mentioned it, that one sprang to mind.
Right.
I still can find it and put it in.
It looks as if it's the same one anyway. So
It might be adapted from that template, and it might be a Russian lesson based on the template. But I'm sure I'm sure it was Russian when I used it.
Perfect.
So there's lots of worlds already created, but you can also create them yourself. So with Minecraft Education Edition, you can safely and securely connect to other people's worlds and work collaboratively. And it'll work locally in the college or institution, in the classroom, or over the internet. So you can have someone working from home, someone working in the classroom, or 2 people working from home. You can have up to 30 people working on the same world, as long as they sign in with their college credentials. And no one outside the college can access those worlds. So this is an example where I worked with a local museum in Dudley called the Black Country Museum, and they were looking for a way to get more visitors, especially a younger audience. So they explored the idea of using Minecraft as a hook to get them into the museum. So the parents dropped their kids off, almost like a creche, and we had different ages from very young to teenagers as well. And most of them had never met each other before. But they got to explore the museum, take some photos, and then head back to their classroom, which overlooks the museum, and were challenged as a group to try and recreate a replica of the museum in Minecraft. So this was done in one day with 18 students that never met each other before. So working as a team produces or raises several challenges. The first one with this one was that the Black Country is renowned, and the reason for its name, because of all the smog that was created from the smoke, the plumes of smoke from the factories that were smelting iron. If anyone has ever watched Peaky Blinders will have a good idea. But there's no smoke in Minecraft, so the children had to find a way, and they realized that cobwebs in Minecraft look a bit like smoke, so they use cobwebs. So they started to use problem solving. Working collaboratively is a great way to get children or young adults working together as a team, but it also provides a context as well. I think I was talking to Jacob during the hands-on activity where we talked about bridge building. So you could have 2 teams working in Minecraft, either side of a river, and then they've got to build a bridge to connect them together. And you think that would be easy, but if they don't communicate, you'll have one side that builds a bridge that's really ornate and that's 10 blocks high, and then the other side will build a really basic bridge that's only 2 blocks high, and when they get to the middle, it doesn't meet. So it's all about communication. A lot of these students will communicate anyway through chat systems such as WhatsApp and Facebook messaging, for example, or Twitter. So they can communicate using the chat system within Minecraft to work collaboratively to build something that hopefully meets in the middle. It's great for problem solving and teamwork. It's great for an icebreaker as well too. So I've got a colleague who states, his claim is that you mention any subject and he can think of a way to use Minecraft. I'm not as confident as him with that, but I also find that some of his answers are quite tenuous. But I can give you some examples of how I've used Minecraft across different subjects. So in art, there's a project called the Tate Modern Minecraft, and it's been adopted with other museums as well. And the idea is that students explore works of art within the museum, whether that's visiting the museum or virtually using the museum's website. and then they choose their favorite artist and try to recreate something in Minecraft based on the colors or the style of the artist, or create a 3D sculpture. You can also create pixel arts. For those that are old enough, I'm going to show my age now, remember Mario Kart on the Super NES, or going back even further to the days of the Spectrum and the Commodore 64. We didn't have the 3D graphics we have now. Everything was made up of tiny little dots or pixels. But pixel art is a big thing, and 8-bit artwork. And because you have blocks of different colors in Minecraft, you can recreate things. So for example, in here, we've got a mushroom from Mario, and hiding in the background, we've got Pikachu. You can also use it to explore business. There's lots of ways to do that and look at economics and economy, but probably the easiest way, and the way I've used it, is to have students build something on the budget. So they come up with the design architecturally. It could be something simple or something really complex, like a high-rise, but then they will have to stick to a budget to build their structure. It could be that you place a monetary value on different blocks in Minecraft. So bricks could be more expensive than granite, and then gold and iron would be more expensive. So they'd have to come up with a design and then work it out mathematically how much it's going to cost within the budget before they build it. You can also use it to support citizenship. So one of the examples I've used in Minecraft is use Minecraft to explore sustainability. So in Minecraft, when you did survival mode, hopefully you chopped down a few trees to help build your house. So imagine placing 30 students on the same very small island and saying, go and build what you want. Eventually they'll stop and turn around and say, I've run out of stuff, I can't build anymore. And that's a great opportunity to stop and think about sustainability, because in Minecraft you can build or construct a hoe out of wood and iron, till the land, and you can plant. So you can have a simple allotment with potatoes, and grow your own potatoes and grow your carrots, but you can also plant trees as well, and they take quite a while to grow in Minecraft. So you can use that to explore creating sustainable forests. So for every tree they chop down, they replace by growing 5 or 10 more seedlings. But as well as some of the slightly tenuous links to education, there are 2 bolt-ons that are built into Minecraft that Microsoft have created specifically for education. And the first one is for computing. So Minecraft have introduced a coding element so that you can actually now code in Minecraft using blocks, JavaScript, or Python.
The idea of creating something is one of the learning can be done best when you don't think that you're learning, you just think that you're enjoying yourself, you're making something. And for students, Minecraft is super fun.
Minecraft has been used in classrooms for years to help students learn more about math, history, humanities, physics. When students are using Minecraft, they solve problems together, and when it doesn't work, they try again until they make it work.
Minecraft itself is a form of self-expression for millions around the world. Now, coding gives them a different tool for self-expression.
It's really cool because I can use something that I like playing at home, which is Minecraft, and then incorporate it with things that I'm learning at school.
Code Builder is a natural extension of the game that students already know and love, and a welcome into the world of programming. With Code Builder, you can actually program in Minecraft.
It allows for the students to still think about algorithms and how to solve problems, and to demonstrate it with this agent.
The student has their own digital assistant who builds things. I can build a wall by making a for loop, and then that wall is going to show up in the game.
The fun element is often watching what somebody has done that you never thought of. I haven't seen him dance. You got to show me these moves.
I'm trying to figure out how I can do the Macarena.
Code Builder offers educators an easy-to-use setup for their classrooms, which will get students up and running on the game within a few minutes.
Students are creative by nature. They definitely love Minecraft. They can have the combination of creating their own rules within the game and then also learning to code at the same time. It makes their entire school experience more fun and something they want to go to.
You can go as far as you want with the tools that we provide in Code Builder, just like you can go as far as you want into exploring the world of Minecraft.
For me, coding in Minecraft provides a context. I remember when I first started teaching ICT, and one of the first activities I did with the students was create a VHS booking system for Blockbusters. Can you imagine, one, trying to explain to a child now what a VHS is, and two, try to get them around the concept of actually going to a shop to hire a film and having to take it back the next day and rewind it. So Minecraft gives them a context for an understanding of why they're learning to code. And a great example of this is a free tutorial that comes in Minecraft. Now, the great thing about this is that it's free for everyone. So even if you don't have a Office 365 account or you've used it for your trials, you can still use this anytime. So it's built into Minecraft. And it's an introduction to artificial intelligence and how we can use AI for good, but also introduces the coding side.
Forests help ensure clean air, fresh water, and sustain life for more than half the world's species. But many forests are threatened by climate change, loss of biodiversity, land degradation, and fires. The AI for Earth team at Microsoft uses artificial intelligence, or AI, to collect and analyze data about our planet to better protect it. For the Minecraft Hour of Code, we're going to protect a village and save a forest with the power of code. And learn about AI along the way. Okay, let's get started. First, make sure you download the Minecraft Education Edition app. If you are licensed for Minecraft Education Edition and have an Office 365 for Education account, sign in and navigate to the Hour of Code lesson in the library. If you don't have an account yet, that's okay. Go ahead and click Start Lesson. You'll land right in the 3D Minecraft world. And this is where the fun begins. Start by learning to move using the keyboard and mouse or touch commands. When you see an NPC or non-player character like this fella, right-click to read what they have to say. This starts a tutorial. For help with reading in other languages, click on the book icon to open Immersive Reader. You'll then follow the path through 8 different quests that will teach you the basics of coding while using AI to help prevent forest fires. Happy coding!
So the next challenge is to try the Hour of Code. So to do that, go to the Play, then Library, then click on Lessons, Computing, and Hour of Code. That should work, even if you've got access issues to the library because it's built into Minecraft. If it doesn't, don't worry. Restart Minecraft, and instead of signing in with your credentials, click on the tick box to try for free, and then click on Try, and that will launch the Code Connections, again, which is built into Minecraft and doesn't require a download. So I'm going to give you 15 minutes to try out the coding. Not if you've never coded before, it's a step-by-step tutorial using blocks. So over to you. Again, feel free to ask questions and post the chat if you have any questions or any problems. Not a problem, Charlotte. So if you go to Play and then Library, and I'll type it in now, and then Lessons. I think it's either Computing or Computer Science. And it's the first one called Hour of Code. Type that in, so Play, Library, Lessons, Computer Science or Computing, and Hour of Code. If that doesn't work, if you restart Minecraft, I'll type that in as well, restart Minecraft. Log in. but tick the box to try, and that will load it as well. Hope that helps. Yeah, let me know if the second option worked. It should be built into Minecraft itself, a bit like the tutorial. Also, as well, Jacob, did the 4G get around the firewall for you?
Yeah, straight past it all.
Yeah,
Just handy to know.
So Charlotte, if you have a phone with 4G capable and you have lots of data, you could tether your device to your phone and then use that just to load the world, and then you can disconnect it again, because it only uses the data and the Wi-Fi just to make the connection. Once it's loaded, you can play the game without being connected to the internet. That is something to be aware of in the future as well. Minecraft only uses the internet for your credentials to sign in and to download the worlds. Once you've signed in and once that world is on your computer, you don't need the internet unless you're connecting to another person's world.
Is it possible to turn creative mode on during these? Because this door's locked me out and it won't let me through.
Yeah, if you press escape, go to your options, then you have the opportunity to change your personal world settings from survival to creative.
Oh yeah, got it. I thought I had activate cheats on, but that wasn't doing anything.
Oh, did that work?
I've got creative on, but it's not letting me break the door.
Can you fly?
I can fly, but I can't get in the building. I think it registered me going through, but I didn't go through, and it shut the door. Now I can't get in.
Yeah, so with the step-by-step tutorial, they've locked it down.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Because it's designed for people that not really played Minecraft before as well. So so they've tried to put in as much measures as possible to stop you from accidentally destroying something like an NPC or destroying a block that you need to progress to the next level. So they've denied you from moving to certain parts, destroying certain things, and even minimize the options in the menu and commands. So it sounds like you're stuck, but you've only got a minute left anyway.
Oh, okay. Cool.
What did you get?
I got to the. It was the. What even is in that building? The Fire Research Center. I've just done the long path. With the maze. And then I got stuck.
So the bit you've missed is where you actually train the robot to recognize the difference between healthy foliage and dead foliage.
Oh. I'm going to play this when I get home, I think. Sorry, not play, learn.
Yeah. It really, because when I talk about context, this is really quite current, because if you think before COVID-19, we had the wildfires in Australia, which were devastating, and I think people have forgotten about that and the koala bears since COVID-19, and we've recently had the fires in. Let's just this now. All right, if we just stop everyone from working hard, and I'll explain that activity in the context, and then we'll look at some other examples as well. So if I go back to my presentation, so if we just look back at that activity, I don't know how far everyone got, but there's a section where once you've gone past the short or long path, it takes you into a research lab, and you basically train your little agent or robot to recognize using facial recognition software the difference between healthy foliage, healthy plants and dead plants. And that is technology we have today. We call it supervised learning and artificial intelligence, and we can train robots to do that. Why would you want to do that? Well, think, when I talked about context and providing the context, before COVID-19, the big news story was the wildfires in Australia and all the devastation and the animals and the communities it impacted. And we've recently had the wildfires in California as well. Now, we'll never, ever be able to stop that. It is a natural disaster, but we can limit the devastation. Obviously, the devastation has been caused by overpopulation and moving communities close to the forest, but also by laziness and people leaving objects like glass bottles, which can start the fires in dry seasons. So what we can do now with technology, we can, just like in the tutorial, train robots to recognize anything that can accelerate a fire when it happens, because we can't stop it, but accelerate it, and send robots out into the forest searching for these things and either destroying them or removing them, so that when we have wildfires again, hopefully they won't be as devastating as they have been in the past. And that's using AI. So as well as teaching people how to code, and you can also change the language to JavaScript and Python if you want to do some more advanced coding. It also introduced the idea of using artificial intelligence for good and provides that context. I've also seen it used in geography. I've not used it myself, but a colleague used an example where he found a world online that was basically mountainous, and they got the class to find different levels and by digging the ground, destroy the dirt from beneath them and replace it with purple wool. And the teacher flew over the top and demonstrated the idea of contour maps. You can also do geocaching, the idea of having something hidden in Minecraft or in a game and having a scale replica of the real world inside the game, and then have students relay coordinates to each other to find that item in the real world. We talked about history, and I'll talk about that in more detail in a moment when we look at the different game modes. We looked at literacy and maths as well. If you know anyone in DNT or like the 3D printer, I know that there was a session this morning on 3D paint. There's a special block in Minecraft called the structure block, and you can place that block by anything you build in Minecraft, and you can export that as a 3D model, which you can either decorate in 3D paint, or you can actually 3D print. I need to change the image for the MFA, but as you've seen with Immersive Reader, there is the ability to translate any of the non-player characters' conversations or any of the signs in Minecraft into any language that you wish. You can use it to explore music, although it is quite a challenge to create music in Minecraft. There are music blocks, but I have used computer in the past to support music. And what I find from the teachers is that trying to play a musical instrument is like, and read sheet music at the same time, is like tapping your head and rubbing your belly at the same time. It's quite a challenging skill. But by exploring it through games or like Minecraft or through coding, it slows the process down, so it gives the students more time to understand and recognize the different notations in the sheet music. So when it comes to playing the music and reading music, it's much easier. The other example I've got here is RE. Now, this is not mine. This is a colleague of mine up in Bradford. he was working with a college where there was a lot of trouble and a lot of issues, and the issues arose from problems. Can everyone just turn the mic off for a second? We've got some background noise. Just thank you very much. So we have this issue where back to my slides. Students were getting into fight, and there was a lot of trouble, and it was based on religious views and different opinions. So they asked my colleague to come up with a project where the students build representations of each of those religions in Minecraft, whether that's structures or conversations. And what it started to do, it became an icebreaker, because the students started to ask each other questions about each of those religions to clarify things, because they wanted to make their build perfect. And as I say, it acted as an icebreaker, and it started a conversation, and it started to break down barriers. Now, I'm not saying that Minecraft is going to solve world peace. If that was the case, then we'd all give Minecraft to Donald Trump and tell him to spend a week playing Minecraft. But in this case, it acted as almost as an olive branch, or that conversation started to get people talking. And then finally, we have the second of the two areas where Microsoft have specifically targeted education, and this is science. So as well as the coding connections, which you just tried out, there's also the chemistry update. So for those that tried crafting using the crafting table and make some different tools like an axe and pickaxe, Microsoft have now released some special crafting tables just for science. So one of them is the element constructor. Using the element constructor, you can set the number of protons, neutrons and electrons and actually create atoms. So you can make a hydrogen atom, oxygen atom. You can then take those atoms and mix them together in the compound creator, which is another table, and actually create compounds. So if you take 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen, you can make water. You can also make blocks using those compounds to form the periodic table, or like the GIF demonstrates, you can make some latex, attach a piece of string, make a latex balloon, make some helium using the compound creator, and attach that helium balloon to objects such as pigs and make pigs fly, just like in the real world. Any questions before we look at our tips and tricks? Everyone happy with that? So here are some little tips that I have kind of picked up over the past few years using Minecraft. So the first one is survival mode. It's great for literacy, great for creating a context or a narrative experience for writing, creative writing or descriptive writing. The great thing about survival mode is it's easy to set up and requires little or no knowledge from the tutor or teacher. You could find existing lessons using the library, or you can go to education.minecraft.net and download existing lessons, and there are hundreds of lessons to download. You can't find one that exactly meets your requirements. You can find one similar and just modify it and tailor it. You've also got creative mode. So we haven't really explored creative mode yet, but with creative mode, it's like survival, but you can't die, you can fly, and you have access to every single block and every single tool in Minecraft, so you can build things really quickly. I find that when you challenge students to create something from scratch in Minecraft, whether it's Minecraft or anything else, they want to make it as realistic as possible. So they tend to go the extra mile with the research. And a good example of this is I was working with a group of students recently where with exploring World War One. And I challenged them as a team to build the Allied and German trenches in Minecraft. And I was walking around the room and I saw this one child was filling the trenches with water. And at first I thought the child was grieving and was ready to tell the child off for not being on task, until he told me that he found this out for himself. So I hadn't realised this, but he'd found out that the Allies were last to the battlefield, so the Germans were at the higher ground. So their trenches were really deep. So when we bombed the trenches, we thought we caused more damage than we did. And when we climbed over the wall, we all know what happened. But the Allied trenches were much shallower because they're on lower ground. And because of this, when it rained, especially rained heavily, the trenches would fill up to the top and the soldiers would be up to their waists in water. Now, I didn't know this, and this child found this out by researching it themselves. There's a slight caveat though, because that's great, but then you can't justify them spending 3 weeks on building a World War I trench when they could probably pick up the same or majority information on 1 or 2 lessons using another method, but not in as much detail. And the last way is a club. So I find that clubs are a great test bed to try new technologies, whether it's using Teams or Flipgrid or Forms or any other tool. Minecraft's a great example because you haven't got the pressures of the classroom, and if something doesn't work, that's fine. You can kind of reflect on that, and you can also use your students to test out the new technology. I ran a club in my last school with my digital leaders. So these are the students that are kind of like adept at using technology, and we kind of use them to help support in lessons. But about the 3rd week of the club, we had a history teacher turn up and said, I hear you have Minecraft in school. Can we use Minecraft? So can I see his history? And the children said, yes, you can. You can build a world. Well, they didn't know where to start. So the children offered to build the world for him. Said, well, give us some pictures. And some links, and we'll start creating it. So every week the teacher would come to the club and advise on how to improve the world and bring some more resource material. And the teacher became the client. And when the teacher was ready to deliver the activity, some of the students actually supported with the activity. So it's a great way to have worlds built for you without having to do it yourself, especially when you've got precious time. Some of the top tips: don't be afraid to let your students teach you. I'm not an absolute expert in Minecraft. I'm always learning new things, and you'll find that your students are probably more experienced at using Minecraft than you, so use them. Use their knowledge, also empowers them as well. Allow time for reflection, as with any new tool. Don't go mad. I've known teachers that have, oh, we got Minecraft, right, let's turn every lesson into Minecraft. The students won't appreciate that, and don't appreciate that. Obviously set clear expectations from the start and set some ground rules when you're using Minecraft. And definitely start with tutorial world, whether you or your students have used it before. The controls and some of the features are different to the traditional version. And use your usual strategies to support independent learning. The two that I use a lot are C3 before me, because students love their text anagrams and analogies and whatever. So C3 pivot before you see the tutor or teacher. And the other one is SNOT. That works better in a secondary or primary setting, but it stands for self, neighbour, or the teacher. So try and work it out yourself first, ask a neighbour. If not, ask another neighbour. If not, then go to the tutor or teacher. So why Minecraft Education Edition? So you can, and there is evidence and research in using games in the education context, specifically for literacy. But Microsoft put a lot of work into making this an education tool. So what have they done? First thing they've done is they made it secure. So you can only use it by using your college Office 365 credentials. Also, when you connect to others, so if you want to have several people work as a team in the same world, they can only connect if they're on the same Office 365 tenancy, so they have the same email address. So no one else can connect to that world or find that world. So it gets around some old safeguarding issues we had with the old version. Comes with lots of educational skins for different genres and scenarios, especially if you're exploring history. Easy to collaborate as long as you're on the same email account, Office 365 account. You can connect at home, at college, in the same classroom, over the internet. Special blocks, so you can stop people from destroying your wonderful work or disappearing, because it is an open world. You've got these non-player characters that you can use for conversational pieces, but you can also use them to provide links to external resources, whether it's a shared OneNote or a website or a video. You can also use signposts. I often use signposts for working out, for looking at area or volume, so that students can right-click on the board and either write their story, write a narrative, or show their workings out. You have the immersive reader. So this is built into Minecraft like it is with Word and OneNote Online. So you can translate, read aloud, highlight the verbs, the adjectives, nouns. You've also got the picture dictionary. So if someone doesn't recognize a word, they can click on it and it will show them a picture of that word. You have a camera, so you can take selfies in Minecraft, but it's useful in that you can use it for evidence of either what you've created or things you've found. If it's like a breakout, escape room, or a treasure hunt, and you can export those to a portfolio, which you can then again export straight to a OneNote. And you have classroom mode. So if you're working with a group of students, you as a teacher or tutor have special powers, so you can do things like change weather to make it rain instantly, or thunder instantly to add that immersion if you use it for literacy. You can stop destructive items, so stop the players from deliberately or accidentally blowing things up. Remember those kids that kick over sandcastles and pull the legs off daddy long legs. You can also stop player damage, so if it's an exploration and you don't students accidentally fall off a cliff and detract from the actual learning, you can disable things like that. So you've got a lot of controls with the classroom settings that you don't have in the normal version of Minecraft. If you want to find out more, if you visit education.minecraft.net, get started. There you'll find all the downloads to the different platforms, and you'll find tutorials and videos and lots of resources online. You can also sign up at education.minecraft.net to get the latest information emailed to you. If you like the idea of the coding but don't want to use it within the Minecraft game, or your students don't have full access to Minecraft at the moment, just a trial, there's a virtual version of the Minecraft coding at code.org/MC. If you use Twitter, the official tag for Minecraft is PlayCraftLearn. The hashtag is MinecraftEDU. And if you want to ask me any questions, I am CLC Simon. And then finally, I've created a Wakelet for you with links to useful resources, to worlds you can download and tutorials. I'll post this into the chat before we end the video. I'll copy and paste that link. And then finally, if you are on the MEC, so the Microsoft Educator Center, and you have an account, you can redeem some points for today's session on Minecraft with this code, and I'll paste this code into the chat as well. And that's education.microsoft.com. Just go to your profile, click on Redeem Achievement Code, and paste in the code. If you've not used it, if you're not using the MEC, I highly recommend it. It's probably mentioned quite a lot today. It's really useful. It's free. Online tutorials, not just Minecraft, but also OneNote, Flow, Forms, Teams, and you can earn some badges as well. So it's education@microsoft.com, and I'll post that into the chat. Before I do that, and before we end, do we have any questions? I'll type the silence as a good thing. So there's a link to the Wakelet. And I'll paste in the code as well. There we go. So if there's no more questions, thank you very much. I apologize for any of the technical issues we've had today, but it sounds like it's been an interesting challenge today. I think it's the brave new world we're living in. But thank you for listening and thank you for taking part. And I hope you found that useful. Feel free to reach out either through social media or through Elaine and check out those resources. And best of luck. And good luck with the new academic year. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting but interesting one. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. A very interesting and informative session.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers. It's been really good actually. Really informative.
That's really good. I'm pleased.